What's going on, guys? It's Hi, and when I was younger and much more of a gym bro, I wholeheartedly believed that you can get everything that you needed done in terms of fitness in a power rack. Squat, bench, deadlift, that's all that I needed, and even though that got me some major gains, now that I'm older, that approach just isn't doing it for me anymore. I just get bored. So I've been in the market for some sort of cable machines so that I can keep myself more stimulated with accessory lifts to go along with the big 3 compound lifts that I still do. In comes the Mikolo M4 plate-loaded Smith machine with cable attachments. Full disclosure, Mikolo Fitness did contact me and offered to send this unit out for a review. I accepted and got the machine for free, but that doesn't affect my opinions or the review of this product. Mikolo doesn't get to see this video prior to release, and my opinions are of my own. This entire machine came in 4 large boxes at about 100 pounds each. Shipping took about 4 days, which is not too bad considering how much material had to be moved around. However, I do think that shipping can be improved because essentially every part that arrived had some sort of scratch or cosmetic damage. I personally feel that because this is gym equipment, it's going to get damaged pretty quickly, so I don't really care about the scratches, but something that I do want to note is that pretty much every part that arrived had some form of rust on it. Everything that's not powder coated or painted is rusting from the inside out, and I'm assuming that this is because of the storage location where the machines are kept prior to shipment. Maybe it's too humid there, who knows, but that's not a good look. Rust is not something that I want to see on a high dollar purchase, and definitely not something possibly holding hundreds of pounds. Upon first unboxing, the task of assembly is going to look pretty daunting, but hey, if I can put this thing together, I'm sure you can too. The instruction manual is pretty straightforward and I would say largely easy to follow. I say largely because some of the images can get pretty busy with all of the parts, and it can take some time to decipher exactly what part is needed. It also didn't help that I was missing some minor hardware from where they were supposed to be, but luckily there was just a loose bag of spare parts that had what I needed. With something like this, the more hands that you got helping, the faster and easier it's going to be to put it together. I feel that I could have gotten this entire machine assembled by myself, but it definitely would have taken a lot more time. For reference, my brother stopped by to help and he was only with me for about an hour and a half, and we essentially got 90% of the job done. When he left, I was on the last 2 pages of the instructions and it was really just minor simple things. I think the most time-consuming part of all of this was just looking for the parts that were needed because they were just scattered throughout the boxes. The parts that were needed to be assembled together were often in different boxes and often hidden under other parts. Some parts were also mislabeled. So again, looking for everything just wasted a lot of time. Something else that was a bit weird was the order of assembly. There were a few moments where we would assemble something, move forward a few steps, then all of a sudden go back and continue something that we already left. All of these things made the entire assembly process a bit annoying, but still very manageable. Now, if you're getting this machine around the same time as I did, you may notice the title mentioning that this is the 2023 version. Again, I have the Mikolo M4, M4 standing for Multifunction Smith Machine 4th generation, and I think that this name is pretty fitting because the machine is absolutely multifunction. First and foremost, this is a Smith machine. It has an Olympic-sized bar that rides on 2 rails. Now, I'm going to say straight up that I personally don't use a Smith machine. I don't think I've used one since like middle school, and that's just because it didn't fit with the way that I train with free weights and just working out in general. Of course, you can essentially do any free weight style barbell exercises with a Smith machine, but the two are not the same. With a Smith machine, it's like you're lifting on the moon because the bar's weight and its speed of movement are reduced by quite a bit depending on the machine that you're using. The bar also always travels in a perfectly straight up and down direction because again, it's guided along on both sides by the rails. This is unnatural because your body obviously doesn't travel perfectly up and down, whether it's a squat, bench, overhead press, or whatever. When you're using free weights, you're going to move slightly in all directions as your body works to balance the weight. This in general is better at building strength and it promotes balance and more practical control of your body. The Smith machine really reduces your ability to make these gains. All that being said, there is a time and place for a Smith machine. To me, it's much more user-friendly because people who aren't as dedicated to lifting, or maybe those who are intimidated by free weights, have this option because again, it's easier. You even have a built-in spotter, so it's much harder to hurt yourself. If you're lifting too heavy and you feel that the weight's going to come down on you, all you have to do is flick your wrists and the bar hooks onto one of the many safeties. As of right now, for myself, I can only think of using the Smith function as a modified leg press, but I think that this is something that my wife and her sisters are really going to love. What makes me really excited about this Mikolo Smith machine is actually everything else, all of its other functions. With the Mikolo Smith machine, you'll get a multi-position grip pull-up bar, a landmine attachment, dip attachments, and even J-hooks and safeties for the outer uprights, which allows you to use this rack as a standard barbell rack if you want to use free weights, so you get the best of both worlds. But on top of all of this, and what really gets me going, is the cable attachments. On this M4 Smith machine, you'll get a pulley system on both the left and right sides of the rack. My Smith machine came packaged with various bars and attachments, and this opens me up to so many possibilities in terms of accessory lifts. I can attach this longer bar and do lat pull downs, which is made even easier with the included leg hold down attachment. This is something that I don't often see with functional trainers or rack cable systems, so the inclusion is nice. With this shorter straight bar, I can sit on the floor with my feet against the footboard pads and do rows. With these grips, I can do flies. Then of course, you are not limited to just the accessories that came with the M4. You can buy your own attachments and get even more out of this machine. I cannot tell you how many exercises that can be done with just this pulley system alone. Not to mention that the pulleys are adjustable in height, so you can change up the position and get even more variations in exercises. Then just when you think that this rack already has so much, there's even more. There's little additions that help to elevate this machine even higher. Things like the band pegs so you can change the resistance in some lifts, or the battle rope attachment to add a form of cardio, or the plate storage pins and barbell holder. This is something that I really appreciate as someone who's had to buy a weight tree as an add-on for my other power rack. Overall, this setup is great, but there are a few things that I think could be better. First, from the product page, something that Mikolo seems to highlight is the addition of the storage hooks that are meant to be used as a way to organize and store attachments and anything else that fits. However, I think that this is a pretty lazy addition and kind of a waste of space. You have this entire back section of the rack that's empty, and all you can think of in terms of storage is 4 hooks. Granted, this is an area where many manufacturers fall short on. They often forget the back section and leave it blank, and that's understandable in terms of cost savings, but it is something that can be improved upon. I mean, if this is the route that you want to go with, can you at least give me 1 or 2 more rows of hooks? This will allow users to store more accessories while adding cross members, which will make the entire thing more sturdy. Speaking of sturdiness, the maximum capacity of the whole machine is supposedly up to 2,200 pounds and is constructed from 80mm by 40mm, quote, commercial thickness steel tube. Take that as you will. I personally don't even have 2,200 pounds of weight plates, so I can't test that out. But I will say that I think this machine can take as much weight as a logical person would consider using with it. With the Smith function, I wouldn't doubt being able to throw like 400 pounds on there. With the cable system, most people won't logically load more than 100 or 200 pounds because it gets really heavy for most cable exercises. The biggest lifts done with cable systems are likely lat pull downs and rows, and I think this machine can handle what most people are going to be able to pull. The only function that is somewhat questionable for heavy weights is if you want to use this rack for free weights with a barbell. Again, the uprights are 80mm by 40mm, which equates to about 3 inch by 1.5 inch. This is noticeably smaller than the more standard 3 by 3 inch steel tubing of decent power racks. So I personally don't know if I would want to lift 4, let alone 500 pounds in this thing. I'm not going to test the limits because I have a dedicated power rack that I can lift heavy in, and I don't want to possibly die with doing something stupid. Overall, this Mikolo Smith machine offers so much that, to be honest, I wish that I didn't buy my standard power rack and had just gone with a multifunction trainer like this in the first place, because this machine offers unbelievable value for the money. It is one machine that fulfills so many needs and wants, all while taking up about the same space as just my standard power rack. Again, there are a few changes that I would like to see, but for the $1,200 to $1,500 price, depending on the package that you go with, I think that this thing is hard to beat. For someone looking for an all-in-one weightlifting station, someone looking for a Smith machine, cable machine, and a barbell rack, the Mikolo M4 is definitely something to strongly consider. And that's going to be it. I hope this video has helped you out or you've enjoyed it. If you did, I really appreciate it if you can give the video a thumbs up, share it around, comment down below with any thoughts or questions that you may have. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more content, And if you want to further support my work, consider hitting the join button down below to become a member of this channel or becoming a patron on Patreon. Thanks a lot for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.